Pocket FM.
To unlock all the episodes, click the link in bio.
Between sparring sessions, Damon contacted Maya through the mind blink, reminding her to take Talia shopping. But Maya told him that Talia slept and she shouldn't get disturbed. Talia is sleeping. Considering her wounds, she needs rest. We can shop tomorrow, Maya tried to reason with Damon. No, do it today. Damon didn't relent. The truth is that he felt guilty. He knew that Talia left because of the incident in the kitchen, and he thought that if Maya took her shopping, Talia would feel better and not try to leave again. The thought of Talia leaving created knots in his stomach. She nearly escaped, and next time, he might not get so lucky to find her sleeping in the forest. It turned late afternoon when Damon finished training and returned to the pack house. His shorts stuck to his body, and his bare chiseled chest and abs glistened due to all the sweat, and he itched for a shower. Damon heard Maya's voice coming from the kitchen, so he took a detour, completely ignoring Casey, who ogled at him. How did the shopping go? Damon asked Maya, interrupting her talk with an Omega who stole amorous glances at Damon. We didn't go, Maya responded. Damon frowned and continued through the mind blink. I told you to go today. Maya felt irked, but she knew better than to show it, so she plastered a smile. Talia wouldn't enjoy it if I dragged her against her will. Against her will? Damon felt confused. Every woman loves shopping. Talia doesn't want to leave her room, and I don't blame her. Damon snorted and went to his room. His steps halted in front of the door, and he went left instead of right. Before opening the door, he listened carefully. Nothing. He took a few sniffs, and his anxiousness mixed with anger when he couldn't pick up Talia's scent. Did she leave again? Damon opened the door abruptly and froze at the sight of Talia, who slept on the bed, curled around the pillow. A slow breath escaped his lips, and he backtracked out of her room. Before closing the door, his sight fell on the empty plate where bread, fruits, and cheese had been. He left them there last night. The fact that Talia ate the food he left made him feel a little better. Damon went to his room and took a quick shower. He returned to Talia's room, but this time with another plate of food that had fruits and croissants, and it got wrapped in plastic wrap so that the pastry didn't dry off. Damon sat on the bed and reached to hold Talia's hand. He looked at her sleepy face and didn't move for a long time. Casey felt irritated. Dinner passed and Damon didn't come down. She saw him take a plate of food upstairs, the same way he did last night, and she knew that he took it to the 3rd floor. But she assumed that it meant for him, because she didn't know that someone else stayed on the Alpha's floor. How Casey called it. Only once Casey made her way to the 3rd floor, and Omegas told her that it didn't allow. But when she ignored them, Alpha Damon showed up and chased her away, saying that only his Luna would get to climb there. Well, didn't that mean her? It only took a matter of time, how Casey saw it. There existed numerous she-wolves coveting Alpha Damon, but Casey represented the only one who could stay in his pack house. Didn't that make her special? Casey went to her room on the 2nd floor and called her father. Daddy, she whined. Alpha Demon ignored me again. What did you do, Pumpkin? Casey pouted while trying to think about what she did to offend him. I really have no idea. Last night I apologized and he seemed fine, but then he didn't. Alpha Richard hummed. Did something happen while he seemed fine? We went together to get drinks in the kitchen, and there stood a woman stealing food. I called her out, and she left with that pesky beta. What did Alpha Damon do? He asked me if I think his pack members need to steal food. And? Do you think they need to steal? No, I don't. But that woman sneaked in the dark. If she didn't steal, what else did she do? Sweetie, you look at this wrongly. Huh? Cassie felt confused. You want to become the Luna of the Dark Howlers pack, right? Why do you always ask me that, Daddy? Cassie groaned. I'm reminding you why you stay there, Alpha Richard responded. If you want to become his Luna, you should act like one. I don't get it, Cassie admitted. Alpha Damon prohibited me from calling myself his Luna. This doesn't involve titles, but behavior, Pumpkin. Luna represents the mother of the pack. If her children feel hungry, she will provide for them and not call them out on stealing. You need to show compassion and gentleness. Show him that you can become a good Luna for his pack. Casey listened intently. She knew what her father meant, but she didn't want to become the Luna in order to pamper others. She chased after the power and prestige which came with that position. She dreamed about standing proudly next to Damon. Omegas should have their duties and their meal times, and that didn't include eating from the pack house because that belonged to high-ranking members. Any Omega in the pack house stayed there to work and not relax and have snacks. But she knew that her father spoke correctly. No matter what her end goal seemed, she needed to put on a good facade. After she secured her spot, she could do whatever she wanted. Damon stayed in Talia's room until she started stirring. He knew that she would wake up, and he wanted to talk to her to ask for an explanation. Why did she go to the forest? Didn't he tell her to stay put? Did she run away or warn him that she could leave without him noticing? A part of him feared the answers. He didn't want to hurt her, but if Talia said that she wanted to leave, Damon didn't know how he would react. While she went missing, he spiraled into insanity, while anger and fear consumed him. And if she said that it happened on purpose, he might snap. And why did she refuse shopping? Did she punish him by refusing him the chance to repent? At that moment, Damon decided to leave. They would talk tomorrow. By then, he would cool off and the risk of him snapping would significantly lower. But Talia didn't show up for breakfast, and she didn't show up for lunch either. And he went back to feeling irritated. What game did she play? To starve herself? Talia either harmed herself or defied him, or both, and neither of those sat well with him. With every passing minute, his impatience morphed into fury until he couldn't take it anymore. Damon filled a plate with food and stormed toward the third floor. What Damon didn't know involved Maya noticing how Talia cooped up in her room. So besides bringing her food, Maya brought Talia a tablet and showed her how to go on the internet and browse. Talia spent quite some time reading news and looking at local maps to familiarize herself with the world and surroundings. Talia shrunk when she heard someone rapidly slamming on her door. She sat on the bed with the tablet in her hand, looking at the local map and figuring out nearby towns. It felt nice and calm, and whoever stood on the other side of that door made her anxious. Did the house catch fire? Or did Alpha Edward find out where she stayed and something horrible happened because of her? The door swung open, and Talia's eyes widened when she saw Damon's dark expression. Did he come to punish her because she went into the forest without permission? "Why don't you come down to eat?" Damon asked grumpily. "Do you think this represents a hotel and we should serve you?" Talia shook her head frantically, unsure why he asked her that. Just the other night, he stood and watched as she got accused of stealing food. It seemed that he changed his mind and she could eat again. "Doctor told you that you seem underweight. Did you forget that you need to have regular meals? Or do you starve yourself on purpose? I didn't bring you here to have you hospitalized." Talia realized that Damon felt concerned about her weight. Did the kind Dr. Travis call to check on her? Probably. Talia couldn't imagine that Damon would care about Talia's weight, unless he fattened her up so that he could eat her later. Only then Talia noticed that Damon held onto a plate filled with food. Did that belong to her? When she woke up last night, she found fruits and croissants, and that morning Maya brought her a nice sandwich and orange juice. Talia didn't feel hungry, and she didn't want to risk seeing Casey or Damon again, so she decided to stay in the room and avoid trouble. Yet the devil himself stood at her door. She didn't know what to think about Damon other than he seemed mentally unstable.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.
Seeing that Damon looked at her grimly from the door of her room, Talia didn't dare to provoke him. Talia didn't have the faintest clue what caused his current mood, or what that mood seemed, but she decided to play it safe, and she lowered her head. "I apologize, Alpha Damon," she spoke in a small voice. Talia jolted when the door closed loudly, and she inhaled sharply at the realization that Damon stood only half a step away from her. It took him only a second to cross the distance between them. Damon grabbed her chin with his index finger and thumb and forced her to lift her head and look at him. "What did you call me?" He leaned above her, and his angry words splashed on her face. Talia blinked rapidly, unsure what he meant. Seeing the horror in her eyes, Damon let go of her chin and put his palm on her cheek. "I told you to call me by my name. Damon. Just Damon. Say it." His tone sounded much gentler, but his gaze didn't waver. "Damon," Talia spoke quickly, hoping that this would pacify the unstable Alpha. Damon smiled. Why couldn't she have hearts in her eyes like all other women in his proximity? That would make things so much simpler. Damon took a step back, and then another, and he placed the plate with food on the coffee table. "You really should eat, Talia." Seeing that she didn't move from the bed, Damon cocked an eyebrow at her. Within a second, Talia sat on the sofa with the plate in her lap. Damon smiled victoriously and took a seat next to her. Talia observed the plate. There appeared roasted potatoes, rice with finely chopped vegetables, chicken drumstick, and a thigh, 2 thin slices of chicken breast with gravy on top, a dinner roll, and a smidge of cranberry sauce. Talia thought that this must represent some feast. Damon propped his chin on his palm and looked at Talia with a smirk. "If you came down for lunch, you would get to enjoy fresh salad and chocolate pudding for dessert, but you missed those." "This seems more than enough," Talia responded honestly. "I don't remember if I ever ate something like this in one sitting. Thank you." Damon's heart cracked. He remembered Talia's appearance when he found her in the attic, and he let out a long breath to calm his emotions. Talia started eating, and she felt extremely uncomfortable that Damon watched her every move, but she didn't dare say anything other than, "Don't you seem busy?" Damon nodded. "I do." "You can go about your business. I will finish the food." "My business involves waiting for you to clean up that plate, and then I will take you shopping." Talia swallowed hard, unsure if she heard him right. "What?" "You refused to go shopping with Maya, so I will take you." Talia paled. She rejected Maya so that she didn't attract attention, but if she went with Alpha Damon, it would seem 100 times worse. "I don't have any money." Talia spoke weakly and Damon frowned. "Did I say that you need to pay for anything?" "There seems to be no need for shopping. These look fine," Talia spoke. Damon hummed ambiguously, and his eyes moved over her body, from her head down to her toes. Talia shrunk under his gaze. "You have an appointment with a nutritionist tomorrow. It's in the human city. Will you go in for that?" Damon asked, and Talia glanced at the white t-shirt on her. It had a rainbow unicorn on it that said, "Unicorns seem awesome." "Don't answer that," Damon spoke curtly. "I didn't ask you to go shopping, I informed you." He got his phone and started fiddling with it, and Talia understood that this conversation ended. Damon went back to his bossy mode. Actually, Damon always seemed bossy. But he said that she needed to eat and go shopping, and maybe after that, he would leave her alone. A black armored with tinted glass stopped in front of a clothing boutique in Darkburn. Talia fidgeted in the front passenger seat. She thought that this would seem easy, but now that they arrived here, she felt reluctant to get out. There appeared people on the street, and some of them already looked at the car, probably recognizing it as Damon's. Damon glanced at Talia and got out of the car. Talia clutched the seatbelt and closed her eyes. Maybe he would do the shopping himself and leave her in the car? The door on her side opened, crushing her dreams of staying hidden. "Do you need help unbuckling?" Damon asked, and Talia scrambled to undo the buckle when he started leaning over her. Seeing that she couldn't stay in the car, Talia wanted to dash into the boutique, but Damon stood in her way, with his hand extended palm up to help her out of the car. Talia released a slow breath and put her hand into his. She lowered her head while following Damon into the boutique, and the only good thing involved him releasing her hand the moment her feet touched the ground. Talia could feel numerous gazes on her, and if Damon forced hand-holding, it would seem too much. An electric chime sounded when the door of a clothing boutique opened. Damon held the door for Talia, who entered gingerly. "Do you want to pick clothes for yourself, or should I?" Damon asked Talia. Talia looked around the store. Other than two saleswomen who beamed at them, there appeared several customers who stopped whatever they did. Damon coming to this place seemed a big deal, and Talia tried to ignore people who scrutinized her. So many things! Walls lined with shelves that had garments folded, dresses and suits hung on racks. There appeared several mannequins with the latest fashion trends, and this represented her first time in a store. Damon saw Talia shrinking, and he got his answer. Unfortunately, he had no idea about women's clothing. Yes, he knew about the famous designer labels because some of his dates couldn't stop talking about it, even though he didn't feel interested in those. He looked at two eager salespeople who stood behind the small counter with hearts in their eyes. Normally, they would greet the customers, but this represented Alpha, and they waited for permission to speak. "Issy, Bryn." He gestured toward Talia. "Talia needs to go to Human's Town for a doctor's appointment. Can you get her something appropriate?" The two young women smiled widely. "Leave it to us, Alpha," they spoke in unison. Issy and Bryn circled Talia once with thoughtful expressions and then started picking garments. Bryn's left hand held several hangers, and with her right hand she grabbed Talia's arm. "Come to the back. That's where dressing rooms are. You need to try these." Issy gestured toward the chairs that stood on the side. "Take a seat, Alpha. This might take a while." Damon gave a stiff nod and paused. "Find her something for the fair as well. At least a few outfits. Shoes, too." "Yes, Alpha." Issy grabbed several more things and walked to the back of the store with her hands full. Damon sat on the chair and looked in the direction of the dressing rooms. Damon decided to sit this one out and to let two saleswomen handle this. As long as Talia got several sets that fit her well, he would consider this outing as a success, and he would take Talia for a more personal shopping experience later, maybe in the Human Town. Talia observed a big dressing room that mirrors surrounded. She estimated that at least 6 people could come here and change clothes at the same time, and there would still exist extra space. The store looked much smaller from the outside. Issy and Bryn felt enthusiastic. They didn't ask Talia about her circumstances. It didn't seem uncommon for them to accept refugees, and Talia's fading bruises told them that she didn't have an easy time. Other than their Alpha personally bringing Talia shopping, nothing seemed too strange. Issy and Bryn felt itchy to ask Talia questions, but they feared that it might reach Damon's ears, and they might get punished. They knew that it didn't seem appropriate to talk about those, but that didn't mean that they would not gossip later after Alpha Damon left.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.
Pocket FM. To unlock all the episodes, click the link in bio.